Established Rich coming right back at you. And today, we got to talk about Rick Ross being seen flying commercial out of Cartagena, Colombia. And I'm going to say something that might make some people uncomfortable. The craziest part of this story is not Rick Ross flying commercial. The craziest part of this story is the audacity of people who can't even fly first class laughing at a successful man flying commercial when that same man owns a private jet. That is crazy to me. We have gotten so used to watching success through a phone that some people think they can sit in regular conditions and judge a rich man's life. Rick Ross don't have to fire up the jet every time he leaves the country just to prove something to the internet. Ownership does not mean obligation. If a man owns a mansion, that don't mean he can't stay in a hotel. If a man owns a Maybach, that don't mean he can't ride in somebody else's car. If a man owns a private jet, that doesn't mean every flight has to be private just to satisfy people who don't even have a damn passport. That's where the thinking gets backwards. The flex is not that he has to use the jet every single time. The flex is that he owns the jet. And Rick Ross said his jet is being worked on. He said they're installing Starlink. He said the plane is getting upgraded and he still had places to be. So what was he supposed to do? Cancel the trip because a commercial flight might make broke people feel comfortable enough to laugh? That's crazy.
We ain't high like Rick Ross in the airport neither. It's all good. Heading back to New York. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Riding through the airport. We ain't on the low. We outside. How y'all doing, people?
I get why Uncle Murder made the joke. This is rap culture. People clown each other. If you talk big money, somebody is going to wait for a moment to say, look at him. But there's a difference between a joke and a real conclusion. A joke is saying Ross got caught at the airport. A foolish conclusion would be acting like just because he took a commercial flight, he fell off. That's where people lose me, because a lot of people laughing at Rick Ross would be posting from a window seat if they was on the same flight. They would be recording the airport, the food, the hotel, the beach, the whole trip. But because it's Rick Ross, now commercial travel is supposed to be humiliating. No, it's only humiliating if your mind is still trapped inside an image. Ross was in Cartagena, Colombia. He was moving through an airport, low hoodie, low profile, probably trying to get to where he was going without every person turning it into a photo shoot. That doesn't mean he was hiding. It means he may not have wanted to be bothered. There's a big difference. Famous people are allowed to move quiet. Every low profile moment is not an embarrassment. Sometimes a man just wants to get through the airport without somebody shoving a phone in his face. And this is where I think the culture gets weird. We tell people to get money, own things, show us success. Then the second they use a normal option, we act like they betrayed the image we created in our head. That is not Rick Ross's problem. That is a poverty mindset problem. Because when you really understand ownership, you don't panic every time the owner doesn't use the asset. A man can own land and still rent a venue. A man can own cars and still take a driver. A man can own a plane and still book a flight, if that makes sense. That does not erase what he owns.
I just want to know where my jet at. I obviously didn't get the memo. It's being updated with Starlink. You know what Starlink is? Yeah, that's the $500,000 Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's where my jet at. And I chose to fly commercial to Colombia to go party with Trick Daddy and Ball Greasy at the Escape the States vibe. And that was a hell of a vibe. I had an amazing time. When I was leaving, that hoodie was low. Rose did it big. The boat. And coming from a boss, I gotta let you know how this go. When Ricky Rose take flights, it's 6 digits. I'm going to get some Mounion, the Mounion. But don't y'all ever look down on no young hustlers who, if they walking, if they riding a bicycle, if they riding on the train, don't you ever look down on no young hustlers going to get some money. Don't you ever talk about these young entrepreneurs if they was flying first class, coach, economy, or private. I flew that 20 years before I went and spent a 40 ball. And when I say that, I mean 40 million on a plane. But don't y'all ever talk down on no young hustlers that's going to get it. I don't care if you young hustlers driving Uber, Rose gonna salute you like a heavyweight.
Ross said something that cut straight through the noise. He basically said, stop worrying about what rich people do with their money. And I know that line sounds arrogant, but in this case, he was not wrong. Because some of the people calling him broke are not even close to the level that they mocking. They're not saying I own 3 jets and I would have done it different. They're saying I saw a rich man in the same airport system I use, so now I feel big enough to laugh at him. And let's be real about something. A private jet is not a toy you treat like a bicycle in the garage. Sometimes a smart move is to book a flight and keep it moving. Now, whether people believe Ross or not, the point is simple. The plane was not available and he still had to make a trip. That's not a scandal. That's life. What makes it look like a scandal is the fact that the internet is obsessed with calling rich people broke. Anytime a rich person does something normal, people want to turn it into evidence. If they sell their car, they broke. If they downsize a house, they broke. If they fly commercial, they broke. That's childish thinking. Sometimes successful people make practical decisions because they don't have to prove anything to you. And that's the part people really don't like to hear. Ross don't need to explain why he's at the airport to somebody who can't even afford the airport lounge. He only responded because the internet made it a moment. But if we being honest, the moment said more about the people laughing than it said about him. Because when your first instinct is to mock a successful person using what you use, that means you don't really respect success. You respect performance. You only like rich people when they look rich enough to entertain you. The second they look normal, you try to pull them down to feel even. That's a sick way to look at achievement.
Y'all better stop worrying about what rich niggas doing. If I send my jet to go pick my mama up and I fly, commercial, that's what I do for mama. If I send a jet to go drop her off, I walk for mama. Just so I miss that. So y'all laughing at the young niggas who on martyr? You can't do that. You can't laugh at a rich nigga. Y'all niggas better stay focused. Any goofies or haters, when y'all posting anything weird about Rose, just take the time out and say, you know this Ricky Rose who you talking about, they make videos when they cut my grass. The lawn service, they make videos. That's 350 acres. It's Ricky Rose now. If you see me walking into a restaurant that sell 99-cent wings, you better say that's Ricky Rose now. Goofies are here. And since it's a big deal for Rose to fly commercial, sometimes I might have to buy me a wing at the Atlanta airport.
This is why the Drake lyric and the rap beef made it bigger. Drake fans saw that flying economy line and took a chance to connect it to Ross. Uncle Murder got his jokes off. Other people who don't like Ross jumped in, but that's what happens when people have an opportunity to talk down on you. I understand the entertainment part. What I don't understand is people acting like commercial travel is automatically shameful.
I just want to see the boy struggle with the payment. Hey, they said Rose was taking economy. Now, listen, as a natural-born economy flyer, Rose, was you hiding from the normal people? Listen, there's nothing wrong with being with us on a plane flight. If anything, I know that I have picked some of the best economy flights in the world. I get live entertainment while I'm waiting for my plane. For you to be sitting here with a hoodie and glasses on acting like this ain't you, you know we can see who this is. Now listen, Rose has pushed his album back. He has start flying economy when he has his own plane, which, I mean, listen, rightfully so. It makes sense, bro. If it's only you, bro, you ain't got to shine. But hiding yourself make this horrible right here.
Rick Ross was spotted taking an economy flight. Come on, Rick Ross. You claim you're the boss. That's crazy, man. I guess a boss really turned employee. You feel me? You a mini boss now. He tried to put on the hood and try to hide. Man, anybody can see that beard from Alaska. Can't hide from nobody with that beard. This man talking about Starlink. Starlink was the reason why he flew economy. You got all that money, buy another jet. Come on, man. We gonna start calling you Mini Boss Rose, Economy Ross.
Most people watching this have flown commercial. So how are you laughing at a man for doing something that you would be celebrating if you could do tomorrow? That's where the audacity comes in. It's not just hate, it's lack of self-awareness. You can clown Ross for talking crazy about other people's money, that's fair. But don't let the joke turn you into somebody who sounds ridiculous. If a man owns a $35 million jet and flies commercial one time while it's being worked on, the story is not that he's broke. The story is that he has options. That word matters, options. A lot of y'all don't have options. We fly commercial because it's the only way we can get there. Ross flew commercial because according to him, his other option was temporarily unavailable. That is not the same thing. One man is limited by circumstance. The other man is making a decision inside his resources. And if we can't tell the difference, then we don't understand money the way we think we do. This is why I keep saying, ownership is the real flex. Using something is one level. Owning it is another level. A person can sit in first class and own nothing. A person can walk through economy and still have loan assets you couldn't even spell on a loan application. That's why you can't judge a person's wealth by one clip in an airport. Real money is not always loud in every moment. And sometimes the richest move is not caring whether a broke person understands why you made it. Now, I'm not saying Rick Ross is above being clowned, but there is still a line between clowning and projecting. Clowning is part of the game. Projecting is when you need a rich man to be broke so you can feel better about not being where you want to be. That's what a lot of this feels like. People were too happy to see him in a regular airport.
If I'm lying on flying economy, give me a motherfucking seat.
Ross, what the hell is you doing? Why is you on economy? This who Drake was talking about you? Nah, Ross, you supposed to be the biggest boss, not looking like you taking the biggest loss. You supposed to be flying PJs, upper echelon. Only way you sitting up economy, you better be shooting a music video or some shit, boy. Man's finna grill your ass, yeah. You talk all this, I got bigger money than this person, that person. We ain't even seen 50 in no motherfucking economy, so you know 50 finna get on your ass by that. Yeah, nah, dog, Ross, this ain't a good look. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, though. Ross and economy.
Too ready to turn a hoodie into a financial autopsy. That's why Ross was right to push back. Not because he needed to defend himself, but because the mentality was crazy. A successful man should not be locked in a box by people who have not built what he built. He worked for his money. He bought what he bought. He can flex it when he wants, park it when he wants, upgrade it when he wants, and fly commercial if that's what makes sense for the day. The public does not own his decisions just because they watch his lifestyle online. You can watch the flex without becoming the flex police. Rick Ross flying commercial does not prove he's broke. It proves he can move how he want to move. And that is more freedom than most of the people laughing at him have. So yeah, Uncle Myrtle's joke was funny, but when the joke is over, Rick Ross still owns a private jet. And a lot of people who laughing are still gonna have to figure out how to get where he's already at. And that's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The man you are mocking for flying commercial is still living a life that most of us will never live. And until you understand that, you're not really clowning him. You're exposing how small your idea of success really is. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.